Hello and welcome to Climbing Daily. Until Wednesday, the 29th of April at midnight, we're offering 15% off all ropes on the EpicTV shop with the code ROPEGUN15. And this got me thinking. During my time at Climbing Daily, I've seen some awesome falls and I've seen athletes trusting their rope. I've also heard stories of what happens when things go wrong. So today we're showing you 3 clips from our archives looking at ropes and athletes and that relationship. I hope you enjoy. Ice climbing, or dry tooling, really is a bit of a bonkers sport. Surely climbing is scary enough without the worry of sharp things on your hands and feet. There were some huge falls in last year's SASFE competition, and this dyno truly tested the limits of trust between the belayer and athlete. No people, or ropes, were harmed in the making of this movie. Next up is Finnish athlete Anthony Gulsteen climbing this 8B+ in the south of France.
And then it gets like gradually harder when you start traversing to the left. It has like decent holds, but the feet are really bad. And then you get to the prow where you're like starting to get a little tired. You have a couple hard clips, and then you get to the red point crux. And that's where it gets like tricky, really bouncy. You have to find the right body positions.
I was filming him with Matafi, the cameraman, and he took a fall that took me by surprise. He just seemed to go a long way down, even though the quick draws weren't that far away. In true pro style, he continued on to send the route. What a beast. Next up is a clip from an interview I did with Arc'teryx athlete Craig DiMartino during the Arc'teryx Alpine Academy. Craig was dropped over 100 feet and survived despite some horrendous injuries. This is a story that's going to give you shivers.
So I was climbing in 2002 with a really good friend of mine, and we were in Rocky Mountain National Park, and we were climbing a route, and we were going to just do the first pitch of the route, and just through miscommunicating like how we were going to get back down, he thought he was going to come up to the ledge with me. I thought he was going to lower me back down the top rope, and so we never really communicated that, and got to the anchor, clipped in, rigged it all up. He took me off belay and he walked away, which is pretty normal. He was going to get his shoes. And so when I was ready to be lowered, I kind of, our belay commands weren't super clear, and I said, okay, I'm all you, and he said, okay, you're good, and so I heard that, and I just unclipped and sat back, and I was 100 feet off the deck and started falling, and I knew I was falling, you know, I knew something was wrong, and so I pushed really hard to get back from the cliff a little bit to see where I was going. It's kind of a steep route, and it tipped me over to my side, and then I kept falling, and about 20 feet from the ground I hit a dead tree, and luckily that stood me back up. And so I landed kind of standing on both legs and just shattered both my legs. So I had compound fractures of both legs on the ankles, tibia, fibular, and then the shockwave just kept going up, and it broke my back at L2. It actually crushed it down, so I don't even have it anymore. They had to kind of wedge it back together. Broke my back, ribs on the right side, shoulder, tore my shoulder up, and then broke my neck at C5, C6. And then I just kind of crumpled into the talus blocks and severed the artery in my right leg too. So I was bleeding really badly. But luckily my friend had a little bit of first aid experience. So he kind of like did a bit of damage control and then started that long, arduous process of getting me out. So that's how, in a nutshell, what happened.
And were you conscious throughout that initial moment? So after the impact, were you awake?
Sadly, yeah, I was. So when I hit, I don't remember hitting. I remember falling, and then all of a sudden, the next thing I remember is just looking up at him, and I saw him. He was freaking out, and so I was awake the whole time. So we formulated a plan. When search and rescue got there, I was awake for the whole carry out. I didn't really go under until they put me on the Flight for Life helicopter. They moved me in, and they hadn't, because I punctured the lung on my right side too, where the ribs broke. I couldn't breathe real well, so they wouldn't give me pain meds. They want to wait. And when I know, it would be really nice. They put me in the chopper though, and they bumped my feet. And I was like, oh my God, it was terrible. Because, I knew my back was hurt, but that's all I could really feel. And then they gave me something. And that's kind of the last thing I remember until kind of waking up in the hospital then afterwards.
You really wondered how well he would do. I mean, obviously a very serious injury. We could tell that he had what we call an L2 burst fracture, burst compression fracture, where the bone is smashed down. Part of the bone went posterior into the spinal canal.
Dr. Turner told me that his spinal column was 90% compromised, which is a very significant amount. That he didn't expect Craig to live, more than an hour when they got him there.
Craig, I wanted to talk to you about the prosthetic itself because it's something I saw outdoor during the trade show recently in Munich. Yep. How have you adapted it to fit your needs as a climber?
So this is the one that I typically climb on. This foot was made by Evolve. We kind of brainstormed back and forth. And then Arc'teryx was like, well, what other kind of feet would you want? And you can kind of it's like buying a mountain bike, you can kind of pick and choose what you put on. We had an industrial designer he fashioned it after a mountain goat's foot.
I didn't start a project with a problem. I think I started with a curiosity. When I was browsing YouTube videos and I saw this clip of mountain goats climbing a nearly vertical wall, I was just so amazed by their climbing ability. And I wanted to connect the dots. I wanted to see if there's anything I can learn from mountain goats and apply that into human bodies.
I loved hearing about Craig's story, and if you want to watch the full interview, then there's a link down below to the Climbing Daily episode and links to all of the clips that we've shown you today. So remember, grab yourself a bargain on climbing ropes on the EpicTV shop with the code ROPEGUN15. It's going to be around until Wednesday, the 29th of April at midnight, so please be quick or that deal will be gone. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.